Welcome to this video. I'd like to show you how you can create one image, still image videos with a music bed in Reaper, and then in a second step, how you can accomplish the same thing with actually 5 mouse clicks in AVConvert. Okay, let's do it in Reaper first. I have here the still image and the background music, and I will bring these in to Reaper. Here we have the still image, so you align them, grid enabled, to a starting point. I have put a start marker here and put my 0 point here. You can do that in the project preferences. And I put this project to 25 frames per second because this is the European standard for video frame rate. So we have this still image here. We open the preview so we can see it. What we have to do first is loop the item. I have a shortcut for this, so I engage looping by selecting it and then clicking this toolbar button. You can also do it by selecting the item and then hitting F2. You get the item properties, and here you can check loop source and it will accomplish the same thing. And now you can drag the edge of it to extend it to the length of the video. And if you want to have it like faded in and out, you would have to add a video processor plugin to this track. So you click on the track FX button and look for the video processor plugin, and then choose Basic Helpers Item Fades Effect Video. Because now, if you fade here, this will actually fade the video in. Too long. So I want a brief fade in. Or you could do it without any fade, obviously. So let's do a fade in and out. That's actually what you would need to set up. And you could work on the audio, make sure that it does not clip and stuff like this. Probably it's a good idea to reduce the level to something like a peak level of -3.5 or something for video, not 0 dB. Videos tend to have a little bit of a lower peak level. We have now the static image of the length of the music, and we're ready to render it. We need to put the end marker, so that's a normal project marker. You double click it to open it and you put in =end in capitals. And you do the same with the marker here at the starting point. It is not relevant what the number of the marker is, but Reaper will render between a marker which has =start in it as the name and =end, whatever the numbers are. And so if I now bring up the render dialog and set the bounds entire project and source master mix, that will capture everything we did. And now in the presets, already saved under options and format, a preset to render this to video. So essentially what you do is you set the format to video FFmpeg libav encoder, and then format to mkv video container. You put in the size and a frame rate. You set the video codec to H.264. You leave this kilobits per second bitrate field blank, and instead you type into the options CRF equals 30. If you want higher quality, 30 is quite decent quality for a still image, which is not moving. And so the file size will be relatively small. You could lower this value, like 24 or something, and the quality will get increased. G equals something will set the frequency of iframes in the resulting video. So 500 will tell Reaper to insert fully encoded iframes every 500 frames, so every 20 seconds with 25 frames. So you could set this to like 25 to have a fully encoded frame every second, but you can also leave this blank or get rid of this command and only use the CRF, which is important to get the quality level set, instead of doing constant frame rate, which is inefficient. Then you set audio. You could use MP3, AAC, or linear PCM even. I'm going for 320 kilobits AAC. And that's actually it. You save the settings. Directory you leave blank if you have a project saved. It will automatically find the correct directory if you put the right kind of wildcards into the file name line. Actually, we could use just project, so it will use the name of the project automatically. Mine is untitled, but yours will get the project name. And then this string, which will insert the current date in English. I would even put the date in front of the project, so it is really ordered in Windows Explorer by the date, and then project name. So we have the wildcard set. We save this, and we now render this, and we will get music rendered with the static video. Actually, I forgot to speed up the process a lot. If you don't use the normal frame rate, but just one, because it's the still image, so it will repeat the same image over and over anyway. So you can use a frame rate of 1, and this will speed up the rendering process a lot. So if I now render it, we can see it's now 8 or even 9 times, and it was at like not even 1 time when I did it with 25 frames. So this is the trick, that you render it with just 1 frame per second. So I brought in the rendered file here into this folder, and if I double click it, I probably set the fade a bit wrong or too short, so we cannot even see it in the rendered video. Let's see if we can see it, the fade out. And it also has to do with, we didn't specify any iframes, which is not always a good idea. So if we do specify these, and like G equals like 25, that would mean if we have 1 frame per second, only every 25 seconds we will get a fully encoded frame. So this is a little bit low. So let's say, well, I could type in 1, but I don't think that will work well. So let's type in 3. Every 3 seconds, or maybe 2. Let's try what happens. Okay, now I have this rendered file here and I launch it. what we see is when we reduce the frame rate, the fade will be like choppy, obviously, because it will jump from one frame to the other. So if we want a smoother fade, we would need to raise the frame rate, but that would make the rendering process slower and also increase file size a little bit. So yeah, it depends on what you're aiming for, and you have these options. But now we can see that we only have a static image shown all the time, not even a title or whatever. So we could bring in title overlays, and I do have them prepared here. So we could insert a title overlay and put it on top of the video. So we would need to copy the video processor over to this track and then change it to image overlay. And then set the filter to 1. And we should see the title overlay, but it's too short, so we also have to loop it and then extend it for the time we want to show the overlay. So let's say a few seconds at the start. So we see the title coming in and then going away after a few seconds. This is all very basic and generic, so I'm still showing it for the sake of later comparing it to how it's done in AVConvert, and you can see the difference. So we now duplicate this track and bring in the other overlay, which would be a logo. Which is shown up here. And we would also have to loop this and then extend it to have the length of the video. We want to have it included all the time. So it's quite some things to do in order to get this done. And then we don't even have what I wanted to have, which is a vintage frame on top of this. Let's duplicate this track again and put this frame on top of it. So we have to mess with zooming and stuff to get everything the way we want. Maybe like this. Okay, so we have title and frame and stuff. We would have to loop this again and then extend it. It works and you can have fun with this, but you have to mess around with placement of where overlays show, and you have to change X or Y offset to have it be shown like this here. Have it shown in the upper right corner. Exactly, so yeah, you have to play with all these parameters. And now let's have a look how to do all this in AVConvert. I'd like to walk you through the options you have to create videos from still images. I'm working on version 26th of February today, just been released. So what we can do with still images is the following. I have a folder here with one still image I want to work on, a view of my studio from 2022. And then we have a PNG image which shows a frame and has transparency. Inside of it, you can see these black and white checker box thing, which will be replaced by some content later. We have a title image. Make it full screen. This is 4K resolution. And we have my logo overlay as a transparent PNG too. So again, the image, the vintage frame, the title image, and the logo image. So with these 4 things, we can do quite a few things. So first and most simple options is, okay, I also forgot I have a music file here. That's the file we're going to use as background music. In AVConvert, to create a still image video, you have to have these assets. They don't have to be in the same folder, but I put them there for convenience. You first right-click the music file and click on AVConvert, memorize this file's name. So now the name of this file has been registered for AVConvert. If I launch a process which involves interleaving music into video stuff, for instance, it would use this file regardless its location. So it could be elsewhere. And now I have to specify if I want to use these overlays, like the title image, which is this one, the vintage frame, and the logo overlay. Let's go from the simplest video creation options for one image to the complexest one. Simplest thing would be, I only specified the music and I already right-click the image file and click on Create one JPEG video including music. This is the fastest of all these options, but also, let's say, the most boring one, because it will now only append all images to form a video of a specified output size, which is in this case 4K 2160p. And you can see it is happening at more than 6 times playback speed of the music. So the music is 4 minutes long. It took a sixth of this to create such a video. I will go ahead for the sake of faster demonstration and open the parameter configuration panel of AVConvert from the right-click context of empty folder or empty desktop background and set the output resolution to 1080p. I want to use 1080p for the demonstration here. I can close this and we can see I did it too late, so this video has been created in 2160. But we can see in a matter of seconds, without tweaking parameters, without opening anything in an editor, you get this most basic music video. And the video will automatically have the length of the music file. This is the end of the audio. And it will resume. So only thing we had to do is right-click the music file, set it to remember this file's name, and then right-click on the image file to trigger the video creation process. So this is the most simple solution for this. Now let's take it a step further and go to this context menu, which offers more options. In this context menu, you can do the same thing, but add like a zooming effect and add overlays. So you can add up to 3 overlays, but it could work without. If you don't specify any, it will not overlay anything, obviously. First options allow you to change the zooming effect, which you can apply to the video creation. So instead of having a static still image, you will get a zooming image. This makes the resulting video a little bit more dynamic and interesting instead of being just static. On top of optionally adding title, image, a logo, and a frame in this case. So let's go with, we leave these zooming effect options alone, so we have it at default. We start by using A1 option. We get a video of this still image, plus a title for a few seconds at the start of the video, plus a permanent logo inserted, and plus the music, but no zoom effect. Let's go for this. And this takes quite some time because there are plenty of things to manage. It's still very little user intervention to create such a video. So I'll stop the creation because I already created one of these. Let's have a look at this. You see no overlay, even though we chose an option which includes overlays, but since we did not yet specify these, they won't get overlaid. This should be our title image, so I right-click it and set this file to title overlay image. This should be the frame, so I right-click it, memorize this file's name, not title or logo overlay, but memorize it as background or frame image. And then this should be the logo, so I right-click this one and set it as the logo overlay. Now we specified all of the elements. So if I repeat the same process again, A1, it will ask to override this. The file will get a meaningful suffix. So just combining music and the image results in such a name. So just the resolution is shown in the name and nothing else. If we opted to add overlays, we get an O in the file name and an F if the title is faded, and I have set it to fade. So the title image will not appear abruptly, but will be smoothly faded in and out, and will be shown for 6 or 7 seconds, which is default. So you don't have to mess with all this unless you want to change something in the timing. Let's look at while this is running, or I even interrupt it, hitting Q to quit. So let's see. We see the title coming in after a few seconds and stay for 6 seconds and then fade out again, and we have the permanent logo in the upper right corner. So that's what we expect. What we also expected to see is the frame. I go back and memorize it. I think I did it. Or it was a different option. Let's see. Go back to the image context menu. So this one, the first one does not include a frame and no zoom. And that's exactly what we got. We just got the overlays. Static image, overlays are working, but no zooming and no vintage frame overlay. So for that, I would have to pick the next option, which is A2, everything we had plus the frame, still no zoom. And while it's doing it, we can see that we'll get the suffix OFFR, which means overlays, title faded, and a frame. And we have the same thing here already completed. And that's what we get. So everything we already had, plus this vintage frame the video is running in. We cannot actually see that it's a running video apart from hearing the music playback because we have no zooming effect yet on the image. So next option would be, I can quit this too. So this would give us the same thing. So next step would be A3. Let's do it. So we have overlays fading with regard to the title, coming in faded, and a zooming effect. So OFZ is this one. Finally, it will look like this. If you look closely, you can see it zooming very slowly. Here you can see it move. So you get a little bit of dynamic, and if I scroll further, we can make it more apparent that there's a zooming effect. And after 2 minutes, it will resume the zooming from the start. It just looped back to the start. We can interrupt the process again by hitting Q to quit. And now we get only a very short snippet of it, because if you apply zooming, this increases render times by magnitudes. So go and prepare yourself a coffee. If you launch a zooming effect, still almost nothing to prepare to create such a video, instead of doing it in a video editor where you would have to arrange everything and create zooming, whatever. So it doesn't take a lot here. Maybe it takes a little bit of time, maybe 20 minutes or a 5-minute video. But yeah, you have nothing to configure. Next thing would be to also get the frame, including the zoom this time. So this would be the most complex option of creating a still image video. So we get our overlays, title faded, zoomed, and a frame. And we can look it up here. I'm not sure if I waited for it to complete, but we get a glimpse of what it's looking like. So we can now see inside this vintage frame, the image is zooming slowly, and we get our title and logo overlay. So quite a few things happening. And the only thing you needed to do for it to work is right-clicking all the elements you wanted to include. So I quit this again, and we can have a little glimpse of it. So it only could render 4 seconds of it in this time. We had a look at what it could look like when it's completed. So these are the 5 options you get to create videos from a still image. From the most basic one, music with image static, nothing else. Up to the most complex one, including the zooming effect. All this and the resizing, which happened because I changed the output resolution. You could obviously render everything to 4K resolution. I only did it to speed up the rendering process for demonstration purposes. And if we want to use a different music file, we would just have to pick another one, right-click that one, and then right-click the image file and launch the process again. It will create the new video file with this new music and adapt the length of everything automatically. All the other elements will stay the same. So you can easily create multiple videos, but with different appearances and also with different background music. It just requires another right-click onto something and memorize another file's name here. That's the new 1 JPEG video creation options you get in AVConvert. Hope you have a lot of fun with this. Bye.